The security guard unzipped the worn canvas backpack and pulled out a small metal lunchbox wrapped in an old blue towel. The crowded lobby fell silent. A second guard reached deeper and carefully lifted out a faded leather journal. Its edges burned as if it had survived a fire. "Check everything," the CEO ordered without looking up. Then an elderly voice echoed across the marble floor. "Put that journal down. Unless you're ready to expose the one secret this company spent 30 years trying to forget." Every head turned. The old man, standing near the elevator, wasn't just another visitor. He was the founder of the company, and he was the CEO's father. Daniel Brooks had only come to fix a refrigeration unit. At 39, he was a licensed HVAC technician known around Portland for showing up early, charging fairly, and never leaving a customer stranded. He was also raising his 8-year-old daughter, Emma, alone after losing his wife to leukemia 4 years earlier. His backpack carried nothing more dangerous than tools, spare parts, and the lunch Emma insisted on packing every morning. The receptionist had welcomed him with a smile. Everything changed when CEO Victoria Lang stepped into the lobby. She noticed the oversized backpack immediately. Corporate espionage had become a real concern after several competitors mysteriously copied one of Lang Technologies' newest cooling systems. Paranoid investors had demanded tighter security. Victoria wasn't cruel. She was exhausted. Months of pressure had made suspicion feel like responsibility. "I'm sorry," she said professionally. "Company policy. Every contractor's bag must be inspected." Daniel hesitated. Not because he had something to hide. Because of the journal. "It contains personal family things," he said quietly. "It still needs checking." He slowly handed over the bag. As security unpacked each item, employees watched from nearby hallways. A wrench, wire cutters, replacement valves, Emma's lunchbox, a folded drawing covered in colorful crayons. One guard smiled. Another unfolded the drawing. It showed a little girl holding hands with her father beneath the words, "You're my superhero, even when you're tired." The room softened for a moment, until the leather journal appeared. Daniel instinctively stepped forward. "Please, that's private." Victoria folded her arms. "If it's harmless, there's nothing to worry about." Before anyone opened it, the founder arrived. 82-year-old Harold Lang walked in without his usual security detail. He had come to surprise his daughter for lunch. Instead, he found strangers holding the journal he recognized instantly. His face turned pale. "Give it to me." His voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. The guard froze. Harold carefully held the journal like it was made of glass. Victoria frowned. "You know him?" Harold looked at Daniel first, then at the journal. "I know that notebook." The lobby became impossibly quiet. Harold slowly opened the first page. Inside was an old photograph. Not of Daniel, not of Emma, but of 6 young factory workers standing outside a burned warehouse decades earlier. One face belonged to Harold. Another belonged to Daniel's father. Victoria blinked. "I've never seen this." "You weren't supposed to." 31 years earlier, before Lang Technologies became a billion-dollar company, a catastrophic warehouse fire nearly destroyed everything Harold had built. Insurance refused to pay. Banks pulled financing. Employees expected layoffs. But one maintenance supervisor refused to walk away. Michael Brooks, Daniel's father. The night after the fire, Michael discovered that a faulty electrical design, not employee negligence, had caused the disaster. Revealing the truth would have bankrupted the tiny engineering firm that unknowingly supplied the defective equipment. Hundreds of innocent workers across several companies would have lost their jobs. Instead of seeking revenge, Michael spent months helping redesign the entire electrical system without accepting a single extra paycheck. Together, he and Harold quietly rebuilt the company. No lawsuits, no publicity, just sacrifice. Michael asked for one promise. Never tell anyone. Harold honored it. Until today. Victoria stared at Daniel. "You knew this?" Daniel slowly shook his head. "My dad passed away when Emma was a baby." "The journal?" "I found it after cleaning my mother's attic." He looked embarrassed. "I've never finished reading it." The journal wasn't filled with company secrets. It contained handwritten lessons Michael left behind for his future grandchildren. Lessons about honesty, kindness, patience, and why helping people mattered more than getting credit. Daniel carried it everywhere because reading one page during lunch reminded him how to be the father he wanted to become. The entire lobby stood motionless. The backpack everyone feared contained stolen technology. Instead, it carried wisdom. Victoria felt something she hadn't allowed herself to feel in years. Shame. Not because she'd followed policy, because she'd stopped seeing people. Somewhere between quarterly reports, shareholder meetings, and security briefings, everyone had become a potential threat. She walked toward Daniel. "I'm sorry your privacy wasn't respected." Daniel surprised her. "You were protecting your company." He smiled gently. "I protect my daughter the same way." There was no anger, only understanding. That somehow hurt more. Harold asked everyone to gather in the auditorium. Within an hour, hundreds of employees filled the seats. No presentation had been scheduled. No investors were expected. Harold simply walked onto the stage carrying the weathered journal. "For 31 years, he began, I've accepted praise that never fully belonged to me." He told the entire story, not as a confession, as gratitude. He explained how one ordinary maintenance supervisor quietly protected thousands of livelihoods without asking for recognition. Many employees wiped away tears. Victoria listened from the front row. For the first time since becoming CEO, she realized leadership wasn't built by appearing flawless. It was built by remembering who helped you stand. The next morning, something unexpected happened. The company didn't announce a new product. It didn't celebrate record profits. Instead, the Maintenance Training Center received a new name: the Michael Brooks Institute for Skilled Trades and Integrity. Scholarships were created for single parents learning technical careers. Each recipient received a small leather notebook on graduation day. Inside the first page was one sentence copied from Michael's journal: "People remember how safely you carried their trust long after they forget what you built." Daniel never accepted a management position. He preferred fixing machines. He liked solving problems that ended with cold air returning to classrooms, hospitals, and family homes. Emma eventually framed her childhood drawing. Years later, she would say it wasn't because her father was her superhero. It was because he never tried to become one. He simply chose kindness over pride every ordinary day. And that was far more difficult. As for Victoria, every time a contractor entered headquarters carrying a worn backpack, security still followed policy. But before any inspection began, someone always asked one simple question first: "Is there anything personal inside that you'd like us to handle carefully?" Because sometimes the most valuable thing a person carries isn't hidden. It's simply misunderstood. And trust, once protected with compassion instead of suspicion, becomes the strongest foundation any company or any family can ever build.